All right, welcome back. It's that time of year again, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on where you are. The kids are going to go back to school. Now, I was listening to a radio report this morning coming into work early about the cost of getting kids ready for their first week back to school, and it was staggering. And I didn't know, or I don't know a lot of people that, I do know a lot of people that have more than one child, and I don't know how they make ends meet. But then this story also hit my desk at the same time today. Back to school shopping earlier than previous years is happening now because of the fears for tariffs raising some of these prices. Now, families with tighter budgets are finding deals in less traditional places. One of them, pawn shops. Yeah, you heard me, pawn shops. Now, families plan to spend about 2% less this back to school season compared to last year, according to a survey from the National Retail Federation. Pawn shop owners told CNN that they're seeing more Americans coming in for back-to-school essentials. Now, who would have guessed it? Now, my next guest has had some school-age kids go through his personal pocketbook, I'm sure. Please welcome into the show Mr. Craig Bolanos. He's a co-founder and wealth advisor at VestGen Wealth Partners in Chicago. All right, Craig. Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I didn't really think of it, but there's a ton of decent computers and laptops for sale in a lot of those pawn shops. I haven't really ever been in one in a long time. But I guess if you're looking for a deal on stuff like that, especially when it comes to the high-tech stuff, which is very expensive, by the way, I guess that would probably be your first port of call if you're looking for a deal.
Yeah, let's be clear. No one's buying Crayolas and safety scissors from pawn shops. But if you're in a school district that isn't giving out free iPads like candy, then you got to flip the bill on your own. And you're right, these things are expensive. So whether it's parents turning online, whether it's parents going and recycling devices from older kids down to the youngest, as long as the software can be updated, or it's going to the pawn shop, Americans are doing whatever they need to do just to get by. I think the big takeaway from this story is what's the biggest headline in 2025? It has been nothing more than Trump, trade, and tariffs. Because how else do you explain 67% of parents getting a jump on back to school spending in advance of the 4th of July holiday? All of that comes to the point that the Liberation Day announcements created a sense of anxiety and fear, some rightfully so, some definitively misplaced, that we've seen in the actions of parents' behaviors.
All right, so you said something I find a little bit interesting. How prevalent is it for the school system or school board to be buying a lot of these things for the kids on the off anyway?
I can't speak for any one school district, depends on where somebody is. But listen, I am privy. We have clients in 41 states that I personally serve at VestGen Wealth Partners. That's 41 states. Scott, that's a lot of parents. It's a lot of grandparents. And I remember back in the day when people were surprised that their kids or grandkids were receiving tablets from the school. And then in certain communities, there are certainly districts that aren't providing those tablets because the taxation base of real estate taxes, all things state and local, just aren't sufficient. And people are having to do whatever they need to do to try to give theirs and their kids a competitive edge. But Scott, last time I went past the local high school, the lockers, they don't even get decorated because everyone's walking around with a backpack, not a single strap, but two straps. That's how you do it these days. And all they've got is a tablet that's in there. There's no more books. So if I can think about businesses I don't want to be involved in anymore, it's ATM, it's dry cleaners, although I'm doing my part, and then it's textbooks.
All right, we were off air when you mentioned it, and I'm going to bring it up because it's appropriate. But 529s. How should we be using those when some of these kids finally leave the nest and want to go to college? What's a good thing about them? What's maybe a bad thing about them? What are your thoughts?
I got to be sincere, Scott. 529 college savings plans are the granddaddy of all college savings plans. If you've got people that you love and they love you back, then it's not just undergraduate. It's not just not just trade school. It's K through 6, K through 12. There's a massive expansion in the use of 529 plans. And I'm specifically talking about the 529 savings plans, not prepaid education. So 3 talking points that everyone needs to know. Number 1, if you don't have a 529 plan, get one. Number 2, you might get a state tax deduction for the monies that you put in if your state allows one. Number 3, you're going to get access to a wide array of low cost passive investment options. They're going to allow you to grow your capital and distribute it tax free for education. And if you end up with money that's left over, the fact that unused money in 529 plans can now be moved to Roth IRAs, that gives you optionality. So the 529 plan, I don't see too many cons. All I see is upside, and we need more people to start adopting it for the utility that it can provide in the planning process.
What percent of your customers have one when they sit down with you in the first place? I mean, is it something that's pretty common, or do you have to kind of push them into it?
I think everybody knows there's some vehicle out there, but at VestGen Wealth Partners, we have to educate people on why it's a 529 plan, why it's not a Coverdale savings account, why it's not a UTMA, and why a 529 in certain environments might still be better than a Trump account, which just got created from the newfound tax law. That's, I think, a whole segment for a coming week, Scott.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Real quick before we go, there's different, you mentioned different types of 529s real quick. What are they?
Yeah, there's two types of 529 savings plans that were created back in 1998. They've been around a long time. That's prepaid tuition plans. And then there's 529 savings plans. 529 savings plans have tremendous optionality and flexibility because they can be used at any school that is in the United States, private or public, inclusive of territories. 529 prepaid tuition plans are going to be a little more limited scope where it's good for a particular state or a state that has reciprocity. So our focus has been the savings plans.
All right. Makes it simple and great. It's totally appropriate at this time of year. Appreciate you coming on. Awesome stuff as usual, Craig. They love you here. Craig Bolanos, he's co-founder and wealth partner at VestGen Wealth Partners.